Hello and welcome to Psychgeist, where we talk about the psychology of the era, the science of games. I'm your host, Dr. Rachel Kowert, and on this episode of Jargon Schmargon, we're going to be tackling two terms, aggression and violence. When discussing the effects of violent video games, we often talk about it in relation to these two outcomes, violence and aggression. And often these two are used interchangeably, which is unfortunate because they actually refer to strikingly different things. Aggression is generally defined as angry or violent feelings or behavior. The important distinction here is that aggression can be limited to feelings, and a person who is aggressive does not necessarily act out with violent behavior. In humans, aggression can be caused by various triggers, from frustration due to blocked goals or feeling disrespected. There are different types of aggression as well, depending on who you are citing. This can be 2, 3, or 4 types. I prefer the 2 typology when discussing aggression in adults. This typology differentiates between aggression that is proactive or reactive. Proactive aggression is direct. It's done with the intention to create harm. Compared with other primates, humans have a high propensity for proactive aggression. Reactive aggression is exactly what it sounds like. It's done in reaction to a provocation. Generally speaking, humans have a lower propensity for reactive aggression. Another way to think about this is impulsive or instrumental aggression. Impulsive aggression, often discussed as affective aggression, is characterized by strong emotions, usually in anger. This form of aggression is not planned, it is reactive. It takes place in the heat of the moment. So like when another car cuts you off in traffic and you begin yelling or berating the driver, you're experiencing impulsive aggression or reactive aggression. Instrumental aggression is also known as predatory aggression and can be thought of as kind of the proactive aggression we were talking about earlier. It's intended to achieve a larger goal. It's not necessarily provoked by anything. It's planned. Instrumental aggression is often seen as a means to an end. The aggressor's goal is to obtain something, and harming the individual is a means to obtain that aim. With children, aggressive behavior is often differentiated into 4 types, which I just want to briefly discuss, as a lot of times when we talk about the impact of violent video games, we talk about their impact on aggression among children specifically. So here are the 4 types for children. We have accidental aggression, aggression that happens by accident, accidentally stepping on someone's foot. Expressive aggression, committing an aggressive act because the act feels good. However, you're not intending necessarily to harm anyone. For example, tackling someone when you're playing a friendly round of football. Then we have hostile aggression, aggression done with the purpose to hurt someone. Children use hostile aggression to make themselves feel more powerful, and this is where bullying would fall under. And then instrumental aggression, just like we saw with the adults. This is like when children fight over objects, for example. Their goal isn't necessarily to hurt someone, but to obtain a means to an end. Now, whichever typology you want to go with, it's important to note that aggression can take a variety of forms: physical, verbal, mental, emotional. We often think of aggression purely in physical forms, things like hurting or pushing, but psychological aggression, like intimidating or verbally berating another person, can also be harmful as well, and very much falls under the umbrella of aggression. So generally speaking, aggression serves a lot of purposes: to express anger or hostility, to assert dominance, to intimidate or threaten, to achieve an instrumental goal. It could be a response to fear or pain, or to compete with others. Now, there are a variety of factors that influence the expression of aggression. Of course, because we're talking about psychology, we have nature and nurture, we have biological factors and environmental factors. Men are more likely than women to engage in physical aggression, but women do use non-physical forms like verbal aggression, relational aggression, and social rejection more often than men. In terms of environmental factors, how you were raised may play a role. People who grow up witnessing more forms of aggression are more likely to believe that violence, aggression, hostility are more socially acceptable. Bandura's famous Bobo doll experiment demonstrated that the observation of aggression can also play a role in how it's learned. This is also the part where exposure to violent video games comes into play. I mean, not really, because we know that they're not related, but we're going to talk about that in a later video, but this is where the argument comes from. Then, of course, there's physical factors, things like alcohol abuse or drug use, brain injuries or abnormalities. These can all also influence the expression of aggression. Violence is the use of physical force with the intent to injure another person or destroy property. It's a behavior with a clear intention to cause harm. There are a variety of factors that contribute to whether or not a person reacts violently in any particular situation. Individual risk factors like exposure to violence and conflict in the family. Relationship factors such as authoritarian child-rearing attitudes from one's parents, or low parental involvement, or low emotional attachment. There are peer and social risk factors, association with delinquent peers, for example, or low commitment to school. And then community factors, diminished economic opportunities, or high level of transiency in your community, high level of family disruption. There are also societal factors that can create a climate in which violence is encouraged or inhibited. This includes societal and cultural norms that support violence as an acceptable way to resolve conflicts. Other large societal factors include health, economic, educational, and social policies that help to maintain economic or social inequalities between groups in a society. So aggression versus violence. Aggression is generally defined as angry or violent feelings or behavior. A person who is aggressive does not necessarily act out with violence. It doesn't inherently happen to cause harm to someone else. Violence is the behavior, but it's the behavior with the intent to cause harm. The physical use of force with the intent to injure another person or destroy property. There are a variety of factors that contribute to both of these outcomes that include biological and environmental factors, the latter of which span individual, relationship, community, and societal levels. If you like this video and want to see more, please like and subscribe. And until next time, be excellent to each other and always cite your sources.